What's up, everybody? So today I am doing top 10 cards going up and top 10 cards going down. So a little bit of background for those of you guys that have not seen this me do this video before. What I do is I'll take a look at my cards. I have about 600 cards that are graded, and I look at the prices of the last month, back in mid-December to today's January 30th. So I look at about a 1 month period and look at what cards are going up and what cards are going down. If you do not see your card here, or, if there's a hot card out there that I don't mention, it's probably because I don't own that card in my collection. Most of my cards are baseball cards. So right now, just in general, as what we see every year during the off season, especially now with the lockout, the vintage cards are really going up a lot. Baseball modern is going down, especially the base cards, just like non-refractor type stuff is going down, which you'll see in the results. Yesterday, Tom Brady announced his retirement, so you guys knew I had to pull this card out. Just a crazy, fantastic year. What a way to end his career. Will probably come in second in the MVP voting behind Aaron Rodgers this year, but I think he led the league in completions and touchdown passes, and almost pulled his team back. In that last game against the Rams to win the game. It was just such an awesome game. But it's interesting, with the Brady, if you guys have any interest in buying a Tom Brady rookie, right now is an absolutely terrible time to buy the card. So if you have any interest, I would just wait, a couple of months. If you are interested in buying a Brady rookie, his cards will come down. If you own, like I have this card, I have to be honest with you. If I was going... if the National was happening today, I'd probably bring this card with me to see what I could get for it. I'd probably walk the floor, see, maybe trade it in for a 33 Gaudy Ruth or a 52 Mantle. I think this card is going to go down over the next year or so. I don't know how much it's going to come down. I think it's still a great long-term investment, but if I wanted to sell today, over the next couple of days would be the time to sell it. So this card hasn't gone up or down so much. There haven't been any active sales, I think, since he's retired, and the news broke late yesterday. So, and I think people bumped up their prices. There haven't been any major sales that I could see. So it didn't end up in my top cards going up or top cards going down, but it was really it'll be really interesting to see where that lands. But what I saw with Derek Jeter was, when he got into the Hall of Fame, all of his cards went way up. And then since then, he's been kind of out of the spotlight, and his cards have come down a lot. So I think something similar will happen with Brady, especially if he kind of is not in the spotlight, that his cards will come down. So what makes this interesting is how it impacts guys, current quarterbacks. Like Joe Burrow's cards are going crazy. I saw one of his cards recently sold for $220,000. It was a gold vinyl card numbered to 5 that sold for $220,000. And you're going to see stuff like that because now people are going to be like, all right, who's the new best player in football? Which to me clearly is Patrick Mahomes. But after that, and to me, number 2 is clearly Josh Allen. But I do like Burrow's got some fantastic weapons around him. But $220,000, that is way too much for a card from 2020 for $220,000. I talked about, there was a couple months ago, it still blows my mind. There was an Anthony Davis that sold for over $1 million. And Anthony Davis, I know Anthony Davis is, on a great Lakers team. Maybe they can win another championship with LeBron James. But $1 million for an Anthony Davis? I mean, like, who is buying these cards? That's what I'm fascinated by. I don't know if anyone else is fascinated by this, but like, who is paying $1 million for an Anthony Davis? Who just bought a Joe Burrow rookie card for $220,000? I mean, what a huge, unbelievable gamble. And who's giving them advice? Like, who's telling them to, yes, you should buy an Anthony Davis, like, hey, you should buy an Anthony Davis. I'd be like, you know, if I didn't know any better, well, like, what should I pay? Like $20? They'd be like, no, how about $1 million? $1 million for an Anthony Davis card. $220,000 for a Joe Burrow. Like, what are people doing? It's crazy. Like, what I could do, you know, take that $220,000 and put it into like really good investments. Oh my God. Like, you know, it's like, what are you doing? It really blows me away. Like, and so by the way, I'm filming this before the championship games. I do not know who's going to end up winning. You know, if the Bengals are going to move on, you know, if the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl. But even if the Bengals win the Super Bowl by like 48-0, I still don't think Joe Burrow's card should be over $200,000. Like, the amount, like, the only guy that will be worth that is the guy that ends up being the best football player, you know, like whoever the next guy is. Is it Patrick Mahomes? Is it Josh Allen? Is it Justin Herbert? Is it Joe Burrow? We won't know for a long time. And if you want to gamble that it's Joe Burrow and you believe that that's the guy, then okay, you know, maybe you pay $200,000 plus for a card from 2020. But anyway, had to go on a little bit of a rant there. All right, so I'm going to go through this relatively quick. I don't think anything is going to be too surprising, but I'm just going to go in order. So you have at number 10, Yordan Alvarez in a PSA 9. This was a $10 card, went down to a $6.50 card. That's a 35% loss on the Yordan Alvarez. You know, these cards, there were so many of these cards graded over, you know, in this enormous backlog that PSA has. And you'll see as I go through this list that as the pop counts are going up and up and up and up on all these cards are coming way, way down. Despite the fact that a lot of people really like Yordan Alvarez. At number 10, cards going up. You guys know I had to get this guy in here. David Ortiz just got into the Hall of Fame. This card at one point went as high almost as like $650, $700, but was going for around $445 in a PSA 10. I had it at $615, although I wouldn't be surprised if it starts coming down. The Hall of Fame induction and like these, you know, retirements and Hall of Fame inductions, you know, for people that don't know a lot about collecting, they don't really mean a lot in terms of the value. Like, it's a very temporary thing. It's like the Brady card will go up for a very short amount of time and then it'll come back down. What adds to the value of these cards is the lead up to it. So if you wanted to sell this David Ortiz card, I decided not to sell it because it's my only David Ortiz. But if I had 10 of these, I would have been definitely selling these the week before he got inducted. Would have been like the lead into it. You just got to time it right. But now that he's already been inducted, his cards will come down, and just don't buy a card like as soon as the guy gets retires or gets inducted. That's a bad idea. Then you're going to overpay for those cards. At number 9 for cards going down, we have this Luis Robert down 36%. This is in a PSA 9. This has gone from a $10 card, similar to the Yordan Alvarez, to a $6.50 card. I am a big fan of Luis Robert, but there's just so many of these cards graded. $6 in a PSA 9. And what are they? Now with PSA, you have to get into a lottery. Which I might do. I'm interested, to get 5 cards graded, which I might do for 5 cards, $50 a piece to get a card graded. Right now, if you don't do the lottery, I think it's $100 is the cheapest. So you imagine you pay $100 to get a card graded, and this card costs you $6 in the slab. So imagine you get this for $50. Now you're down, you're negative $44 on that card. Now, when I submitted these cards, it was like $10 a card to get them graded. So it's a big difference. The hobby has changed a lot in the last year or two. It's been a hell of a ride. At number 9 is the Aussie Smith at a PSA 8. Similar to what I was just saying, you're going to see a lot of vintage cards going up. With the MLB lockout, that has definitely added to that. So this has gone from a $400 card to a $620 card. At number 8, cards going down, Matt Chapman, again, another modern base PSA 10. I had this as $36. There was a recent sale for $20. So this is a $20 card and a PSA 10. If you like Matt Chapman, guys, the interesting thing is that all of these modern cards have come down so much. And if you think about like the slab being like a $50 slab, if you believe in that, then, maybe now is a good time to get some modern cards, for really cheap, especially if you really like a particular player. Why not? And cards going up, and I was really surprised to see this. So I just picked this up about a month ago. Talked about it on my channel. You guys know a lot of other channels kind of picked up the momentum that I was talking about the importance of vintage. And vintage became a really big thing throughout the YouTube community over the last month or two. And honestly, I'm going to take a lot of the credit or heat. A lot of people are probably mad at me that I've been talking about vintage because it's hyped up a lot. It's led to vintage going up a lot, unfortunately. But I gotta, you guys know I try to be honest with my thoughts. And this card, there was a sale right after the one that I bought mine for around $4,000 a couple weeks ago, and then right after that, people talk about vintage. Muhammad Ali was featured in baseball in Card Investor, Jeff's channel. Sports Card Investor, sorry. And this card went for $8,100. That's a 77% increase from the previous sale at $4,560. I didn't get the $4,560. I think I even paid less than that. But this card basically doubled in a 1.5 month period. And there's no reason for that at all. Like, I don't know. I think somebody might have just overpaid for their Muhammad Ali. Like, I don't think it should double in a 1 month period. That makes absolutely no sense. But that's what happened. So next up is going to be at number 7, Shane Bieber. This card is number 7. Let's see. It went from a $48 card to a $25 card. This is the Chrome and the PSA 10. I really like Shane Bieber. This is an interesting card for $25. Might be interested in something like this. Maybe you get the refractor for real cheap, but $25. This is a 47% decrease on the Shane Bieber rookie. Next up at number 7 for cards going up, this Bob Gibson in a PSA 5 went from a $50 card to a $90 card. So these older vintage cards are going way up. Makes sense. I mean, if a Joe Burrow is $220,000, why can't this Bob Gibson from 1965 in a PSA 5 be $90? So I know that Bob Gibson, not as great as Joe Burrow, but anyway, hopefully you guys know when I'm joking. I think people don't always understand when I'm joking on this channel. All right, cards going up. The Walter Johnson, I feature this card many times, but $4,100 to $7,700. That's an 89% increase on the Walter Johnson. For cards going down at number 5, what do we have? Number 6, Eloy Jimenez. At number 6, I think I had this at. This went from a $30 card to a $14 card. All right, guys, so at number 5 and number 4 for cards going down, decided to put these two together. Justice Sheffield and Francisco Mejia, both down about 60% from their previous sale. So, the thing is, I guess I wanted to point out is, for those of you that are buying 2021 Bowman Chrome, and I'm sure you're aware of this now, but you know how it works. the cards go way up until the player gets called up because there's so much hype surrounding those players. Inevitably, when they don't live up to, unfortunately, Francisco Mejia doesn't look like he's going to be the next Johnny Bench, and Justice Sheffield doesn't look like he's going to be the next Sandy Koufax. When that becomes obvious, and that like sometimes that'll it'll take a couple of years in the majors, but when they've kind of proven that they're not going to be anything particularly special. Like they're good baseball, like both these guys are good baseball players, but they're not going to become all-stars or even clearly not Hall of Famers. Their cards are going to come down, and that's what you're going to see. It doesn't happen right away, but the way with prospecting and Bowman Chrome autos, the best time to get them is when they're super young and they're coming up to the majors. Now, if they live up to the hype, Mike Trout, Fernando Tatis Jr., Juan Soto, you can make yourself a ton of money. But if they're not one of those top tier talents, then their cards are obviously going to come way down, and they come down even more. These two cards, you can get them, even the refractor versions, for like $20 now. So that's the gamble of prospecting, and I think everyone knows that game. But just for those of you that may be new, that's what happens. At number 5, I have the Chicago Bears team leaders. I don't know. This card, maybe there were no previous sales, but there was a sale for $41. This is a pretty cool card with Walter Payton on it. PSA 9. These sort of vintage high grade cards I think are great investments right now. And a PSA 9. And then sort of related to that, another card from the early 80s. Harold Baines saw this card go from a $17 card to a $35 card. That is a 105% increase. So both around like 105% increase from their previous sales. But they were still really cheap, $35, $40 card. Nothing crazy there. Next up is Austin Meadows. Sort of similar to the prospecting. Meadows, I guess it was a recent sale of this, which what a great, as I'm looking at it, $16. I would definitely get this for $16. Man, if that's true. $16, I had it, previous sale was $42. If you can get this for $16, jump on it. Austin Meadows is a great talent for the Rays. He's been sort of a disappointment. Like, you could just tell he has a ton of talent, but just hasn't really been able to put it together to the point where he's like taking it to that next level. But if you can get it for something like this for like $20, I would do it. I think it's worth the gamble for $20. At number 3 for cards going up, again, vintage cards, PSA 6 on the Eddie Matthews. I guess recently there was a sale from a 1960 Topps Eddie Matthews that went for $100, and the previous sale was $50. So you can see a lot of vintage card sales going up. This is random. Tony Gwynn, $26. There was a sale for $10 on a Tony Gwynn 8.5. So another just kind of interesting thing, like these BVG holders just don't seem to be holding up. And, base cards. Tony Gwynn, I'd buy this for $10. Why not? Really cool card for $10. I'd buy it. At number 2, cards going up. Mike Trout, Topps Living. I don't know why this is on the list, but recently there was a sale. Normally this is like around a $30 card. There was a sale recently for $68 on the Mike Trout Topps Living. I have no idea why that would be. I'm going to save the cards going down for number 1 just because that's hilarious. At number 1 for cards going up was this Willie Mays and a PSA 7. There was a recent sale for $12.75 on a PSA 7 Willie Mays. So, and I had previously had this at $5.25. So that's a 142% increase on the Willie Mays. And these cards, it depends on the, especially with vintage, there could be another PSA 7 that sells that doesn't look as nice as this one, and then the card, the next sale is for like $600 or $400 or something like that. But that's the how vintage works. At number 1 for cards going down, I just thought this was funny. Number 1 is the 2018 Topps Update Gleyber Torres pinstripe jersey and a PSA 8. There was a recent sale of this card for 50 cents. That's right. Somebody bought this card for 50 cents. The previous sale I had on it was $4.25. That would be an 88% decrease, and it is number 1 on my list today. So talk about hitting rock bottom. You can get this card for 50 pennies. I think I paid $10 for grading fees on this card, and now you can have it for 50 cents. So maybe I'll get this up on eBay soon and see if I can get somebody to pay $1 for it. Why would you even bother selling it for 50 cents? You know what? If you have the time, go for it. All right, guys, that's it. Let me know your thoughts. Always fun kind of putting this together. I do this because I would do it anyway. I think it's interesting, but hopefully you guys enjoy it as well. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later.